Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar about online recruitment on TikTok. I'm going to share my screen first. Let us introduce ourselves in the meantime. My name is Stephanie. I'm the marketing lead at Simple, and next to me stands Mark. He's one of the founders of Simple.
So when you said let's introduce ourselves, you actually mean you're going to introduce me.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's teamwork, ladies and gentlemen.
So let's see if everyone can hear us well, if everyone can see us well, if you can see the slides. Maybe put something in the chat so we know that everything is connected well and that you can hear us.
Yes, lots of people saying yes, so I'm assuming that's the end. Fantastic.
All right, cool. So we're going to talk about recruiting on TikTok. If you have questions during the webinar, please don't hesitate to ask them in the chat or in the question tab, which you can find on the right. We're really happy to help you with those questions. All right. What is on the agenda for today? We're going to talk about why you should recruit on TikTok if you're not doing it yet. We're going to tell you some marketing basics before you can actually set up a campaign. And then we're also going to share some successful experiments, which we already did in the past and which we're doing right now. Let's be very clear, we're not going to talk about free and organic recruiting on TikTok. We're talking about paid recruitment campaigns, so you need to have a media budget to do so. We're not going to talk about data-driven recruitment. We've done a webinar about that already in the past, and also for recruiting on Facebook and Instagram. You can find all our webinars in our academy. Mark will share the link in the chat.
As we speak.
Yes, perfect.
I knew you were going to say that.
So you can register for free and you will receive access to all our resources, all our webinars, our white papers, etc. So please have a look over there as well.
It's amazing content. People really seriously, if you're onto online recruiting, go ahead and have a look at it. It's fantastic stuff, all made by Stephanie, all free. Can't imagine why we're not asking money for that, but that just shows you I have nothing to say here. So there you go.
All right. What do we do at Simple? Well, we provide qualified candidates, and we do this by focusing on passive candidates. I will explain that a bit later in the webinar. We do this through targeted advertising on social media, Facebook, Instagram, also a bit of LinkedIn, and now also TikTok. And we do this in a user-friendly process. We've developed a software for that, which we'll come back to that in the end. Here you can see some proven results. We've done lots of campaigns. Here you can find some of our customers as well. And what is important is we analyze 11 million data points per month, which is, of course, a lot. We have an algorithm behind it, but it is important to have lots of data points analyzed if you're doing recruitment campaigns on social media. Now, first of all, let's do a quick poll, which you can also find on the right. I want to know who is already doing recruitment campaigns, paid recruitment campaigns on TikTok. You can vote on the right.
At the moment, it's a clear minority. About 100% people have not yet done any recruitment campaigns on TikTok.
Okay.
I guess I know why you're here then. Good. Yeah, I think that's the votes are keep coming in, but nobody has clicked yes. So it's a big no.
All right. Maybe we can do the other poll as well.
Yes.
If you already have done recruitment campaigns on Facebook and Instagram, you can vote yes right now.
Just to clarify, paid recruitment campaigns. That's important. So have you already kind of paid and used an advertising model on social media to find candidates? So again, let's have a look there. Okay, it's good. Very interesting. Let's give it a couple more seconds. Still some votes coming in there. Okay, about 70% have done it already.
Okay,
that's good to know.
Cool. We're also going to launch a new webinar next week where we will compare recruitment on TikTok versus recruitment on Facebook and Instagram. So that might be also interesting for you guys.
It's the first question from Hélène. So she gets a gold medal, Hélène, for the first question. Are you going to send us your presentation? No, we will not. But you'll automatically receive a recording of this presentation at the end. And very important, you can also watch the webinars in the Academy.
Yes, indeed. All right. Now, why should you start recruiting on TikTok? Let's share some numbers over here. These are worldwide numbers. So 689 million people are actively on TikTok every month. There are more than 200 countries available on TikTok. There are a couple of countries where TikTok is already banned, but as we're focusing on European countries right now, I'm not going to mention them right now. And there are over more than 1 billion video views per day, which is of course a lot. Now, I can hear you already think maybe like, yeah, okay, but TikTok, isn't it for young people? Well, that's what we also thought, but
that's what the old people think.
Yeah, true. But we found some numbers, and only 47% of the users are aged between 10 and 29. So that means that more than 52% is actually older than 29 years old. We also found this number really impressive, and that's why we also started experimenting with TikTok for recruitment campaigns.
And maybe just to clarify, because there might be some questions on that, TikTok doesn't measure below the age of 10. So if the kids are using it under the age of 10, they are counted as being 10 years old. That's their cutoff point. So it's really, the 52% is really all above 29.
Yes, indeed.
And Camille thinks they're all between 29 and 30. That could very well be. Of course, we haven't seen. No, I think we have seen the split.
We have seen the split.
Yeah. It's actually quite. It's a nice spread.
Yeah.
Over to 65 plus, I think even.
Yes, indeed. All right. Now, why should you also start recruiting on TikTok or on social media in general? Well, 20% of the job seekers is actively looking for a new job. And they're looking at job boards, at Google, but 80% of the working population is not actively looking for a job. And you have to reach them where they are every single day, and that is on social media, Facebook, Instagram, but also TikTok. You have to pop out with your vacancy advertisement on those channels to reach those passive job seekers. All right. Now, before you can actually set up a campaign, you need to have some marketing basics in mind before you can actually start building your campaign. And the first one is a funnel. What is a funnel? Well, here you can see all the steps of which a person takes before you come to a hire. So first of all, they come to your website and they apply. So you have an application. The next step is a selection process, which is different in every company, of course. You can have lots of interviews or only one, and then hopefully you come to a hire. So these are all the steps that a person takes. But before the recruitment funnel, you have the marketing funnel, because of course you want people to come to your website, to come to your vacancy. And here is where the marketing funnel comes in. First of all, you have the discover phase. In the discover phase, you will show advertisements.
So we just get a message that somebody can't hear us. So I just want to check in the chat. Sorry. Do you hear us? Does anybody else have problems hearing us, or? Okay, no, everybody else. Okay, sorry.
Okay, all right.
Good.
So the marketing funnel can be divided in different steps, and the first one is the discover phase. In the discover phase, you will show advertisements to a really broad audience, but you will be very specific in your copy. So for example, if you're looking for someone in construction, then you will write an advertisement about construction, about the trends in construction in 2022, for example. And you know that people that click on that ad, they might be interested in working in construction. But you will not show the vacancy yet. It's in the engage phase where you will be a bit more narrow, and you will talk about, are you looking for a new opportunity? Do you want a new step in your career? So you know that people that click on that advertisement, they are likely to change their job. but it's only in the attract phase where you will show the advertisement itself. So the advertisement for your specific job function in your company in a specific region. Why is this so important? Well, those two funnels are attached to each other. So if you're doing recruitment campaigns on TikTok, TikTok will not only have a look at your advertisement in the attract phase, but TikTok will also have a look at your website, at where you send your people to. So also, what is also important, you're paying for it, so you have media budget for it, and you want to know where something goes wrong or where you have to optimize in which step of the funnel. All right, I hope that is clear.
And again, if you're really interested in this, which we would advise you to be, if you're spending money, check out the webinar we gave on data-driven recruitment or read the white paper, because we go very much in detail there on how you set up your website, how you set up your vacancy pages to make sure that you can actually track all that data, and you can analyze that data then to improve your campaigns. And you'll hear us talk a lot about data today, in the next hour, because that's really kind of what's going to make or break your campaign, because recruitment is a pretty niche advertising model, so you need to have as much data as possible to make it work.
Indeed.
The reason I'm talking so much is just because nobody's asking questions, and otherwise I feel a bit on my own here, because Stephanie isn't all doing the talking. So therefore, if you want me to shut up, just start asking questions, people.
Yes. Now, how do you measure everything? Well, you have to install the TikTok Pixel. If you're not doing it right now, please do it. Although you're not doing recruitment campaigns already, but if you think of doing recruitment campaigns within 6 months, then you should definitely start installing the TikTok Pixel already right now on your website. Now, what is the TikTok Pixel? It's a piece of code that you install on your website, and it will track all the steps that a visitor takes on your website, and it will send back that information to TikTok. So, first of all, it is important to track conversions. TikTok needs to know when a conversion, when an application in this case, has taken place. The application takes place on your website, so it's important that you install the TikTok Pixel to track those conversions. The second one is that you can build audiences with it. If you have a really good audience on TikTok, then you can broaden that audience, but I will come back to that later during the webinar. But so please install the TikTok Pixel first, because otherwise your recruitment campaigns will be also very expensive and you will pay much for it. If you're already doing, because there are some people in the audience that are already doing Facebook and Instagram campaigns, recruitment campaigns, the TikTok Pixel is not yet as advanced as the Facebook Pixel. They're working on it, but you will see that with the Facebook Pixel, you can even do a bit more than only what the TikTok Pixel is offering right now. All right. No questions?
Well, there's a question I was just thinking about. The answer, actually, the question from Lynn. Can you give an example of a good content for the engage phase? Take that?
Yeah. I think for the engage phase, you already want, well, literally people to engage. So I think it's best to ask questions, to write perhaps a blog post about when do you think you're ready to change your job, or are you looking for a new opportunity? What are the steps you need to take? Maybe a checklist to start actually applying for jobs. But in the engage phase, you really want to narrow your audience, and you want to narrow them with people that are actually looking for a job.
Yeah, exactly. Now, to be honest, I think that probably, and it depends a bit on your budget. I think if there's any phase you can skip, it's probably the engage phase. I think the discover phase is the really important one to kind of narrow it down, because it's a big audience. You want to have data, as Stephanie explained. For instance, on construction, that's data you can also use later on, maybe 6 months later if you have another vacancy. So I think the discover phase is a really important one to focus on. In order to do that, you need to make sure you have the pixel installed, so you can actually track that data and you can work on it should they come to your website where that blog is or that general information is. So I think if there's any space you can skip, it's probably engage one, which is also, we have done some experience with that. It's not, ideally, if you have a large audience, a budget, go for it. But that's also probably a phase you could skip.
Indeed. All right. Now, we've done some experiments already on TikTok, and we want to share with you some of them. But first, I need to explain you the difference between a lead and an applicant. This is important to keep in mind, because otherwise you won't be able to actually understand the experiments that we did.
Or fully comprehend.
Yes, fully understand, indeed. So you can choose from different objectives for your campaign, and one of them is traffic. Traffic is to generate clicks to your website. So they see an advertisement on TikTok, people come to your vacancy on your website, and then they apply. With us, they do so by filling in an interactive questionnaire, an interactive chatbot, and then an application has taken place, because we want to pre-screen candidates before they actually come into our software. Now, next to traffic, you can also choose for lead generation forms. This is also lead generation campaigns. This is also an objective which you can choose for in TikTok, the advertisement platform. And what is that? Well, if people see your advertisement on TikTok and they click on it, they don't come to your vacancy page, but they have to fill in a little form on TikTok itself. It's only first name, last name, email address, and then you have a lead, because a lead is someone that you can actually, how do you say it? Follow up on, yes.
And I think it's also pre-filled on TikTok, no?
I'm not quite sure, actually.
Right.
I'm not quite sure.
On
Facebook it is, yeah. So when you have a lead, you can contact them by email. You can send them an email and say like, hey, I saw you filled in the form on TikTok. If you really want to apply, let's have a look at our vacancy, and you can actually fill in the application form. So then they come to your vacancy page, and then they actually apply on your website. Why is this so important to know? Well, there is a difference between a lead and actually an application. You can have lots of leads, but of course, the applications that will take place with the lead generation form are maybe less. You will have a loss of conversion because you have to email them. They have to go to your website. You have 2 extra steps actually with lead generation. I hope that is clear. So let's show you.
There seem to be any question on that.
All right.
And maybe if you're confused about what is an objective of a campaign, i.e. traffic and lead generation, we will come back to that a bit later on also. So the objective of this part is only to explain to you that there are 2 different ways to get an applicant, either directly by sending to your website, or with a step in between by using the lead generation and the email steps to make them apply. And kind of just to build on that, and I think, Steph, you mentioned it, but I just want to make sure people really understand it, is that it's very important to have an application which is much more than just a name and an email, because the advantage of passive candidates is that they are very impulsive, so they are not in process for other applications, or other jobs. But it's also sometimes it's a very impulsive decision. And that's why for us, it's really important not just kind of think we have a success, we have lots of leads. No, success is only there when you actually have lots of applications. I know different software maybe sometimes has a different approach to that, but we've tested this, and although leads are valuable, the real value lies in the application.
Indeed. All right, so let's share some experiments. This is an experiment which we did for boutique agency. It was our first experiment, which we did on TikTok, and they were looking for promo girls and boys. I will show you the video. It is with sound, because 88% of the TikTok users watches videos with sound on. It is much more than on Facebook and Instagram.
It's 8 times as much.
Indeed.
It's 10% on Facebook, Instagram.
Yes.
That's really important to take into account.
So I will show the video really quickly, and then I'm going to go through the results with you guys.
So all my ladies who got a brother that doesn't treat them right.
bye-bye, I'm too fly. Can I just explain, because I'm seeing it as maybe some of you people will see it. This now looks a bit pixelated and a bit scattered. This is a full-on movie, right? Or video, sorry, it's not a movie, it's a video. So maybe because of the bandwidth, you will see it differently. But the idea is that you have a movie, so it's composed of different sets of video streams.
Yes. So here are the results. We received 41 leads. It's also important to know that we received it within 2 weeks. So we received 41 leads. So 41 people actually left their email address on TikTok itself. They filled in the form after they saw the advertisement. We've sent those 41 people an email to actually attract them to our vacancy page, and there 18 people actually applied. So we had a cost per application of 10 euros, which is really, really good. We were really happy with the results, but of course we thought, okay, but they were looking for students. Maybe they are more likely to be on TikTok. So of course we did some other experiments. And one of them was for Call Excel, which is a client of us, and they were looking for contact tracers. The video is in Dutch, so sorry, but I hope you will see how we make the videos on TikTok. All right. So here we received 42 leads, which was actually a bit more or less the same as a 41 for boutique agency, but we only received 9 applicants. So you do see that there is a conversion loss because, of course, you have to email them, they have to have a look at your vacancy, and then they actually apply. But the cost per application was 4 euros, which is really impressive. Although we received only 9 applicants, the cost was actually really, really cheap.
I just remembered we forgot a poll.
Which one?
On the cost per application, what people thought was a good cost per application.
Yeah.
But there you go, it's too late. In the meantime, there's 2 questions. There was a question on the previous campaign, Boutique. How long did it run? I think you mentioned it was 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yes.
And this campaign for
Also 2 weeks.
Also 2 weeks.
Yes.
So, and then the question from Rim on what brings you more applications. Rim, hold on. We'll share some tips and tricks on that later on. And a question from Evelyn, how good were the candidates? How many did get the job?
Yeah, so of course we also have a look at the quality of the candidates. Well, actually our client has a look at, over it. And at boutique agency, I think 89 or 87, I don't know the exact number, percent of the applicants were actually valuable candidates. So they actually were good for the job vacancy which they had.
Yes, and a question from Lena, how many of those applications became a hire?
Yeah.
That's a kind of similar question. On Call Excel, I know they hired 1 or 2 people out of the 9 applicants. So that was also quite a successful campaign there.
Yes. Let's share one more. Here we were looking for a communication, marketing, and events coordinator for IMEC. And the person that they were looking for needed to be experienced in marketing and in events and communication. So let's have a look first. So you see, these are also authentic pictures. These are pictures from IMEC, from our clients, because you don't want to use stock images. People really need to know where they are going to work. We received 28 leads and 6 applicants, and the cost per application was 26 euros. So just to give you an example from, if you're looking for more experienced people, then probably, well, it depends on the sector, but probably your cost per application will be a bit higher than if you're looking for junior profiles.
And this campaign, how long did this run?
Also 2 weeks.
Also 2 weeks.
Yes.
So that, I guess the answer to everything is 2 weeks.
Yes, because we're still, well, normally recruitment campaigns we do, normally we advise of doing it for 30 days. But as TikTok is a new channel, we're still experimenting with it, and we do it for 2 weeks because we want to test lots of things. So we do it for 2 weeks. All right. Now, how do you have to set up a campaign? Well, I will go through all the different components which you have to select in TikTok on the advertisement platform itself. And the first one, there are lots of components which you need to fill in. On the campaign level, you have to choose the objective. Like I already told you, but I will explain it a bit more into detail later. You can choose from traffic or lead generation or conversion. There are lots of objectives to choose from, and we recommend to test which one works best for you. Then under the campaign level, you have the ad group. It's more or less the same as a recruitment campaign on Facebook and Instagram. You have to define your target audience. You have to choose a budget, of course, and the bidding as well. And then underneath the ad group, you have the ad itself, the video, which you can see over here, how it's actually shown in TikTok. And I will now explain to you all those components into detail. So the first one, here you can see all the objectives which you can choose from on the TikTok recruitment, on the TikTok advertising platform itself. Like I already told you, lead generation works best for us now. We experimented with traffic and with lead generation. We're still, actually right now, we're doing some tests with conversion as well, because conversion is working good for Facebook and Instagram for us. So we're still experimenting with that. But for now, lead generation is working best. And let me just really quickly show you an experiment, how we are, well, convinced that lead generation is working best for us. Here you can see the difference between a campaign which we did between traffic and lead generation. So for lead generation, we've spent 165 euros and we received 0 applicants. So traffic was when people see an ad on TikTok, they click on it, come to your vacancy page, and there they have to apply. But with lead generation, we did the same campaign, so the same audience, the same advertisement, everything was the same, only the campaign objective was different. We received 18 applicants for a cost of 10 euros. So here we already saw that lead generation was working better than traffic versus traffic. And we tested it with other clients as well, and we came actually to the same results. So I wouldn't say that lead generation is the best way because we didn't experiment yet with conversion as an objective. But for now, we say lead generation is working better than traffic. Okay.
There's a question, sorry, there's a question coming in, but I think is it possible to target on education? But we will come back on targeting actually now.
Yes, indeed.
So there you go. And then a question from Peter, how do you go from a filled-in lead form to an application? Peter, that was what we were explaining earlier on. Mm-hmm. So now what happens, we've built a system where people who fill in the lead automatically get an email. They are then sent to a landing page with a more explanation about the vacancy, where they can apply. They go to the chatbot over there, and then that becomes an application. So that's the kind of system we develop now. I'm sure there's plenty of others, but that's the system we develop, and that's also what you see in the numbers here.
Yeah, and also what I maybe want to clarify is we only sent one email out.
Yeah.
So of course, if you send reminders every 2 days and you call them as well, perhaps, then your conversion will be much higher and you will receive more applicants.
Obviously, the question is then, why didn't we do that? But there you go, action point for the next campaign.
Indeed.
Right, question from Ruben. Did most of the generated leads still go to the website page after giving up their email? I would think not.
Well, they do it when they receive the email.
No, that's my point. I think the question is here more about once they fill in the lead generation form. That's also what we see in Facebook and other channels. If people fill in the lead generation form,
their way,
they just close it, they send it off, and they go back onto the standard or what they were doing, which is an advantage. And a disadvantage of leads. We'll come back to that on the data point. We'll come back to that in a second also, I think.
Yes.
Let me just check the chat because people are asking questions both in chat and yes, question from Camille. Do you need a full active TikTok profile to use ads, or can you only do the advertising part?
Well, you need to have a business profile, so you need to have a business page. Yeah, you need to have one. But it doesn't need to be active. I mean, we have a business page, but there's nothing posted on it. So, and we still have good campaigns. So it doesn't depend on how much followers or how much post you do every week. No, you can do recruitment campaigns without posting organically.
Which seamlessly brings us to the next question from
Yes.
Helena, sorry. In Facebook, Instagram, you need a minimum amount of followers to link to a job description. Does it work the same in TikTok?
No.
No. But I think also, to be honest, Helena, I think you're actually referring to organic traffic, right? Because in advertising, basically, as long as you pay, you're able to link to whatever you want. And as we mentioned in the beginning, this is not about organic traffic. This is really about paid recruitment advertising.
All right. Now, let's dive a bit deeper into the targeting options of TikTok. And the first one is you can choose some demographics. You can choose your location to show your advertisement, but unfortunately, it's country-based. So you can't say, okay, I'm looking for someone in London. I want to target London. No, and you have to target the UK as a whole. They're working on it to narrow the location because, of course, country-based is large, is big to target.
If you're in a big country,
yes,
especially.
Indeed. In Belgium, it's not that big, although it's the middle of the world, but it's the center of the world. No, just kidding. And then some other demographics which you can choose from is also age, also gender, but of course you can choose whatever you want. And then you can also target some languages. It is important to look up the allowed languages for your country, because for Belgium, for example, you can only make advertisement in Dutch, German, French, and English. If you want to make a recruitment campaign in Spanish to target Spanish people, that is not an option. I'm not sure what the consequences are if you do so, but yeah, it is important to look it up, which is allowed in your country. Then the second one is you can also choose from some interests. For people that are doing already recruitment campaigns on Facebook and Instagram, they already know that you can also have the option to target interests on Facebook. And it's also the same on TikTok, but it is not yet as advanced as Facebook and Instagram. And then the third one is data. This is really important. With every social media platform that you're doing recruitment campaigns on, data is important. The more campaigns that you already did, the more audiences you already built, the more data your pixel already has, the better your campaign will be. And also to manage your cost, it will also affect the cost if you have lots of data. Now, for this video, it was our first recruitment campaign, Boutique. They were looking for students. I just want to share with you which interests we've chosen. So, for example, here they were looking for students, and there are some interests on TikTok. This is just a print screen from TikTok concerning students. So, student athletes, student loan, international students. So, people that are actually engaging with videos concerning this topic, they will see your advertisement as well, of course, in your location that you're targeting. But this is an example from interests which you can choose from. There is also an interest which is called work opportunities and recruitment. We're doing some tests with it, but there are not many recruitment campaigns already on TikTok. So I'm not sure if the interest is working that well, but we're doing some experiments with that. Another option besides interests is to build custom audiences. What is a custom audience? Well, if you install the TikTok Pixel, then you can target people that already visited your website. Unfortunately, it is not yet a specific page on your website. You can't retarget people that visited a specific page. It is your website as a whole. They're also working on that to develop it a bit more because, for us also we have a B2B and B2C audiences on our websites, but they're working on that. And then a second one is you can also upload a list of people. Well, that's what TikTok is saying. So you have to have minimum 1,000 people, which you can actually upload on TikTok. And then you can create lookalike audiences from it. A lookalike audience is actually an audience just to broaden your custom audience. I will come back to that later. But TikTok is still working on that, because if you have a list with email addresses and phone numbers, you're not yet able to upload that list. So what we say is, okay, so custom audiences, you can only use a pixel to retarget the people that already visited your website, and you can build audiences from that, but uploading is not yet available. Like I already said, once you've defined a good custom audience, you can broaden that audience by creating a lookalike. So TikTok will have a look at the similar behaviors on TikTok to actually broaden your audience and to make your reach higher for your advertisements campaign. And now everyone is wondering, how much does it cost to do recruitment campaigns on TikTok?
Before you go there, let's answer some other questions. Question from Erwin: do you need different pixels for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok?
Yes, because there are different platforms. Although Facebook and Instagram is both from Meta, from the Facebook platform, so you only have to install just one pixel for Facebook and Instagram. But TikTok is a whole other platform, so it has another pixel.
Yes, and you probably need Google Tag Manager. Once you have Google Tag Manager installed, it's going to be pretty easy to kind of add new pixels. And then I think, I thought there was a new question coming in, but those are the only questions at the moment.
All right. Now, how much budget do you need to provide? Well, you need to have minimum 20 euros a day on an ad group level. So if you're planning to do a campaign with one audience and one video, you have to have minimum 20 euros. Of course, what we recommend is that you have different ad groups, different targeting audiences, different videos maybe, because of course you want to test which one is working best for your target audience. You can also set up a cost cap. You can say, for example, okay, when I receive a lead, I don't want to pay more than 15 euros. You can set it up, but we don't really recommend that, because you want to give as much as freedom to the algorithm of TikTok. Because if you're doing cost caps, then you're not allowing the algorithm to work entirely correctly. All right, so this is the minimum. We're doing now, we're experimenting with 14 days for one recruitment campaign. But of course, if you're already happy after 7 days and you received lots of applicants, then you can stop your campaign whenever you want.
And just to put that into perspective, I think the first time we looked at it, the minimum for a campaign was $6,500. So it's clear that this is now coming down significantly and makes it easier for everybody to actually try and start doing applications on this. Maybe just to put one more, to add to what Stephanie has already mentioned a couple of times, saying, well, they're working on it, it's early days, etc., etc. We're grateful that we have direct contact with TikTok and we get lots of updates. But I think what's important to realize that I think now is as good a moment as ever to start experimenting, because yes, the opportunities will increase, but it will probably also mean that the costs are going to become higher. Your CPM, so your cost per 1,000, is going to become higher, because of course the easier it will be for people to recruit and to advertise on TikTok, the more people will come in there. And because it's a bidding model like Facebook, the price will increase. So let not the fact that not everything is yet at the level of Facebook, or with the same level of detail, or the same technological tool set that you have in Facebook. The fact that it's not there, don't let that stop you to start experimenting on TikTok today. Good.
All right. I also want to share some tips and tricks concerning the advertisement, concerning the creative that you upload on TikTok. And well, you have to upload a video which is vertical. Here you can see the aspect ratios also, because most of the people are scrolling on TikTok on their mobile, on their smartphone, and you want to take up the whole screen to actually pop out with your vacancy advertisements. The ideal length of a video is 5 till 15 seconds. It is really, really short, and you need, and the first seconds are, of course, the most important one, because people are scrolling and you want them to stop scrolling and to have a look at your video, and then, of course, actually apply eventually. And you need to have specific copy. What do I mean by that? Well, like I already told you, the targeting is now country based. So here, well, it's also in Dutch, but here it says wanted carrossier in Antwerp. So people already directly know that there is a job vacancy in Antwerp. So if they're in Leuven or Brussels or whatever, if they don't want to travel a lot to their work, then they don't stop scrolling. Well, that's what we hope, of course. Here, they were also looking for an experienced person. And that's what's actually said in the first 3 seconds of the video. So people that are junior, that they just came out of school, you don't want them to click on your advertisement. So be really, really specific. And also one more tip, use authentic pictures. You don't have to have like animated videos or moving videos, but just upload some pictures. TikTok has a nice studio itself where you can upload some pictures, and TikTok will make then a video for you. But use authentic pictures. Don't just search stock images on the internet, because people really want to know where they are going to work, with what team, how the office looks like, etc. Okay.
Just one question from
Yes.
Elena. Does your business location determine the languages, or is location chosen for the ad?
It's location shown in your ad, yeah.
For the ad.
For the ad, yes.
And so if you're in Spain and you want to advertise in the UK,
yeah,
you're going to be limited to using English. And then there was
Yes.
a question from, where was it? In the chat. Peter asking, what is the exact added value of Simple in this process? Good question, Peter. Actually, everything which we've shown today, you can do on your own. Right, so you don't need, if you want to set up everything yourself, you can do it completely on your own. Use the tips and tricks we give here. So you don't need us for that. We have software to help you with that, and I'll come back to that, I think, in a couple of minutes, where I can show you where our software can help. But if you want, you can make a business account on TikTok, and you can actually do everything yourself.
Well, the advantage, which I already want to share with you guys, is that we've done over more than, I think, 7,000 recruitment campaigns now already. So we do have a lot of data. The pixel of Facebook and the pixel on TikTok, well, our pixel is already gathered with lots of data, which you can also use as a client of Simple.
It's a nice, big, fat pixel.
Yes.
Completely filled with data. It's all yours.
Okay. Now, I just want to share with you that there is still a long way to go on TikTok. I mean, you can already do recruitment campaigns on TikTok itself, but well, you probably noticed already during the webinar, there are some, well, not really hiccups, but bottlenecks to actually do recruitment campaigns. But we've done some successful recruitment campaigns. Our clients were really happy with the quality of the candidates. So I really recommend to start recruiting on TikTok today. All right, then we'll go quickly live with our software, maybe?
Yes, maybe just to explain, if you can go to the
Yes.
next slide. just to explain what we've built is because we know it's quite difficult to start recruitment campaigns on social media, the pixel, lead generation, traffic objectives, what have you not. And therefore, we actually kind of built specific software to help you with that, which not only will make it a lot easier for you to set it up. And I'll just go and share my screen. Let's do that here. So I can show you in literally 1 minute how easy it is. So you can see my screen now. Yes. So this, let's just assume you have, it's a dummy vacancy for a barista in Central Park. You can actually use our ad builder to here within our software build up different sets. You can add a picture. You can add your own pictures. You can change your logo. You can make it all in different formats as is needed for this campaign, and then you can actually use our data here. So, for instance, if you put in the vacancy, you can then choose from all the data we have from previous vacancies. In this case, you would choose hospitality to continue. You can build your landing page. That's a page where people will land once they see a vacancy. And also, very importantly, you'll be able to manage the candidates that come in via that campaign. You'll be able to manage them on a Kanban board, which is similar to a board like Trello. So you'll be able to see what they replied to the questions you asked. You can take notes, you can email them, all from the software. And what's important is that all your actions with the candidates will also influence the campaign and will make sure the campaigns are adapted. You can track all of that, so you can actually track live within the software how much impression, how much visits, how much budget you spend, which ads are working, which ads are not working. So it's really, we built a software to help you do recruitment marketing without any marketing know-how. That's really the important part. You can set your first campaign live in about 30 minutes, and our algorithm, and we'll just switch back to the presentation and to the slides that Stephanie was showing here. Yes, that one. So the beauty is that we've built an algorithm on top of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And actually our algorithm will define how the budget should be spent, what channels are working best, how campaigns should be adapted, which ads should be stopped, which A/B testing was the most successful. So all of that is done in the background. And the only thing you have to do is, as I mentioned before, just fill in the kind of candidates you're looking for and give us the text and the visuals that you want to use for the campaign. And everything else is done within our software. You can use the power of our pixel. You don't need to bother installing everything that on your website. Everything is done with our software. And we just launched our new website. And then
I already forgot.
You already forgot. It's almost 2 days ago. The things that happen in the meantime.
Yes.
So you'll find more information on there. And also in the app that if you register now, you'll receive also a 2-week free trial for the software.
All right. If you still have some questions concerning recruiting on TikTok or online recruitment, you can still ask them in the chats.
Or in the question tab.
Yes, indeed. And if you still have some questions in the next couple of days, you can always send us an email or contact us on LinkedIn. We're really happy to help you with all your questions concerning online recruitment, of course. And we're still going to launch one more poll, maybe?
Yes, exactly. Sorry, I was just looking at, there's no more question at the moment. The final poll, which is not the pricing on TikTok, but is how likely are you to recommend this webinar to a friend or colleague? And let's just check. I thought there was a question here. Does TikTok allow for retargeting?
Well, yes, but you can only retarget all the people that came to your website as a whole. So you can't retarget a specific page, specific visitors of a specific page of your website.
Yeah, that's interesting. Right. Oh, and of course, for those people who are not, you need to make sure you install the pixel on your website.
Yes,
to do so.
Indeed.
Otherwise, you can't do the retargeting. That's Indeed. Probably a given.
All right.
Okay, I think Honestly, let's have a look at the results of the poll. I forgot to check that out. And we have some 7s, some 9s, some 10s. Some people are giving a 4. We'll find you. It will convince you and ask and answer any questions you might have. Good. Well, there you go. Wrap it up.
Thank you so much for joining us. I recommend you to have a look at our LinkedIn simple business page, because there we're always announcing new webinars. Next week, we're doing a webinar about recruiting on TikTok versus Facebook and Instagram. You can also have a look at our academy, where you can find all our white papers, which we've written, checklists, webinar recordings, etc. I wish you a really happy afternoon and hope to see you again in one of our webinars. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ken Wilson.